Everyone, and I mean everyone, should take Social Security at age 62 with two exceptions. And anyone who tells you otherwise is missing this one key variable. I'm Matthew Jarvis. I spent the last 20 years helping people retire and coaching financial advisors on how to do the same. So here we are on Social Security. There's all sorts of information or opinion. Should you take it at 62, at 67, at 70, at some time in between? And my rule is that everyone needs to take it at 62 unless you meet one of these two exceptions. Exception number one is that you are still working. If you are still working, Social Security does not want you to, they call it double dipping, which is not really accurate, but they don't want you to work. And so if you are making more than about $23,000 a year, Social Security will penalize your monthly benefit. And for every $2 you're over the limit, you will lose $1 of Social Security. So if you go just $10,000 over the limit, you will lose $5,000 of Social Security benefit. Now, eventually this penalty will be calculated back in. It's not really something we want to mess with today. So if you're still working, don't claim Social Security yet. And so that leads us to group number two, which are people who can't spend the money. Now, depending on where you're at in life and financially, this might seem odd to you, but there are a lot of people who are very good savers who get to retirement age and they've saved up more money than they need for their lifestyle. In other words, if they turned on Social Security, it would just get deposited into their bank account and build up there. If that's going to be the case, then go ahead and delay Social Security. It will grow faster inside of the Social Security system than it will in your bank account. However, a far better plan is to simply spend the money. For a lot of my clients, we have them open a designated checking account where the Social Security check goes each month. And if they don't spend it by the end of the year on travel or on adventures or a new car, then they donate that money to charity or to a friend. So again, everyone should take it at 62. Group number one exception is if you're still working. Exception number two is if you're simply not going to spend the money. So what's the variable that everyone's missing? The people who tell you, hey, delay your Social Security, wait until 65, 67, 68, 70, whatever the case may be. What is it that they're missing? Like, why am I saying take it at 62 and they're saying wait until 70? And the variable they're missing is what I like to call quality of retirement versus quantity of retirement. Said a different way, I've never seen an obituary that talked about how much money someone got from Social Security, right? At like the end of your life, when you're laying on your deathbed, you're not going to think, man, I really wish I would have squeezed a little bit more out of Social Security. What you're going to think about instead are the adventures that you took, the experiences you have, the life that you lived. And let's use a really concrete example. Let's say that we have two people, let's call them twin brothers, Bob and Larry, and they're both eligible for the same amount from Social Security. Bob decides to take his benefit at 62 because he listened to this video. Larry heard some expert that said wait until 70, so Larry waited until 70. So Bob starts at 62 with a lower monthly benefit, and for 8 years, he's getting checks that he's using to take trips with, while Larry's waiting to collect his Social Security until age 70. So Larry waits till 70, right, 8 years later, turns on his Social Security, says to Bob, Bob, my Social Security is almost double what yours is. You were a fool for waiting. Well, how long does it take for Larry to catch up to Bob? Remember, Bob had an 8-year head start. It's not until they get to about age 80. So at age 80, Larry, who waited, will have gotten about the same amount from Social Security as Bob, who started early. Now, let's think about this for a second. Hopefully, Bob and Larry still have a lot of years left to live, but the number of adventures you're going to take in your 80s and your 90s are a lot different than what you're going to do in your 60s and 70s. So in other words, Larry traded the best years of his retirement so that in his 80s or 90s, he could get more money than Bob from Social Security. This is why, my friends, that I advocate that everyone take Social Security at age 62, unless you're still working or unless you can't spend the money. Otherwise, take the benefit, enjoy your life, and until next time, happy planning.